I love it, and especially in that being able to analyze if you overestimated that goal
Yeah,
as a part
exactly.
of it too. Using your example, where are you currently before you tried to accomplish that goal? Were you not working out at all before you tried to start working out 7 days a week? Or
Yeah,
were you working out 2 days a week and you're upping it to a higher dose of
exactly. Exactly.
exercising?
You
So
got
I definitely agree with that because I know there are so many people who make goals like that and don't reflect on it, and then they quit the goal because they feel like they
yeah.
can't
It's
accomplish
like
it.
it's like I'm not good at this. I'm just gonna give up. And that's not how you win. How you win is
Right.
understanding why, where you failed, why you failed, and how you can optimize that system so you're more likely to succeed in the next go.
Right. And so I definitely love it, especially with trial and error and creating hypotheses so that you can see what actually works for you. And that's why I kind of get bothered sometimes with using your example. I see those 75 hard challenges and
Yeah.
then all of these people who have not worked out in I don't know how long that have committed themselves to work out 2 times a day and then they don't be able to complete the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it like if you think about how we've been built, like how we've been programmed, because a lot of us in our generation, we went to school, right?
Hmm.
And so in school, you get one go, sometimes two, like depends. Like some teachers allow you to resubmit, and then you get a grade, move on. So you
Right.
either pass or fail. That's it. In real life, that's not the case. In real
Right.
life, you have so many options, you have so many opportunities, right? So it makes no sense that we are educating children in this context that is so different from the real life context, you know?
Yeah, and I sometimes I wonder if that is an element of creating people to be more passive when things come around than actually thinking critically as well with that it's a one and done mindset versus trying to make them think, well, if it didn't work, how can you figure out the way to
Yeah,
make it work?
my quick answer to that is that it's just more work. If you have to give every child a different experience, then
Hmm.
it fails the standardized model of get this massive population of children to just go through this training so we can feed them into the factories, right? Like if all of a sudden we have to give all of these children more opportunities to try different ways, like how can that be controlled in
Hmm.
a standardized system? It cannot. It would take too many resources, too much time, and so it wouldn't fulfill the goal. So I think that the problem of the system is that it's not built to personalize the experience to each child, and that's what we're trying to overcome with my organization.
And so, with that being said, especially with everyone have basically their different levels of learning and their different levels of engaging content and processing information. There's a difference between a student who says, "Write me a story about a dragon," and one who says, "I want to write a story about a dragon who loses their fire." Um, and help me build the world, how would you teach like the different aspects or the different creative directions of those two students where one says is going by instructions whereas the other is going by something that they've creatively actually put in their mind?
Yeah, from what I know about psychological development in early childhood, I
Hmm.
think that we live in a society where they tell you like, oh, like your child needs to be independent, like right from age 2. Like moms are criticized if they're breastfeeding too late or if they're hugging their children every time they cry. And I think that, from following the teachings of PhD professionals in these type of disciplines, my understanding is that autonomy comes from unconditional support right at the beginning. So if
Hmm.
you compare two children, like you take one child that their parents were, you know, always helping them to get up every time they fell off the bike, always teaching them, showing them how to do it, that child eventually learns to ride the bike and doesn't need help. Whereas if you take a child and give them a bike and say, figure it out, that child will always need help or always have trauma around it and will start to resist it. So we implement a similar practice with our projects and with our students in the curriculums we build. To answer your question, before they write a story, in the instructions, we say things like, okay, who is the main character of your story? What is the struggle that this character has? What are the strengths of this character? What are the weaknesses of this character? So these are questions that are guidance questions that are easy to immediately, as soon as I say that question in the imagination of a child, they're going to be able to say something back. And with that, they already have like the initial elements that they can input into. Write me a story about a dragon that really loved to play and was really good at flying, but didn't have fire. And you know what I mean? Like it already gives them like the foundational tools to start doing that. And the more that you give those guiding questions at the beginning, the less they need it as they grow older. Where if you give a child no tools to work with and expect them to just figure out everything themselves, they're always going to need, as they grow older, that help because they never had a foundation of unconditional support in the beginning. So guiding questions. I was looking at one of my clients the other day. She was filling out a book report that she got out of somewhere like separate from our platform, because if you ask the platform create a book report, the platform will create it from the methodology that we have. But sometimes, homeschoolers, they like to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So she was doing it from somewhere else. And she said the question in the book report that she found was like from probably like a standardized school model. And it said, how does the book end? And the child wrote, the end.
And
And she sends it to me and she goes like, what do I do here? And I said, guiding questions. What happened after the climax? How was the character different at the end from the character that started in the beginning? Bonus question, what do you think happened after the ending?
right.
Like all these questions to kind of like push that creativity to flourish. And in the imagination of the child, that will do wonders. So all you have to do is create guiding questions.
But they were not wrong.
They were not wrong. They were right. But the guidance they had was, yeah, that's what I mean. They were not wrong. They answered it. It does end the end.
Yeah.
Right. So from a logical perspective, that should be a check mark. Good grade for you, standardized education. But from a critical thinking, creative mind perspective, we need more guidance there.
Right. So I want to jump into our